Welcome everyone to day number 2 of the PCL summer playoffs. I'm Toby, and this is, of course, if you don't know what PCL is, it's the Chinese league. And if you didn't watch the first day, I would recommend you to go watch that first if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, watch this one alongside us, and then you can go back and watch the first day afterwards. We went over a bit of how the teams qualified to get here, because now there are just 16 teams left. There used to be 48 teams in the Chinese Pro League, but they went through the group stages, and, well, as the screen says as well, now we are indeed in the playoffs. So if you want to get a little more in depth on who the teams are and how they got here, watch the first video first, and then come back to this one. If not, then join along for the 6-game ride. It is 3 games of Erangel to start off with. Then we are going over to a game of Sanhok, and then we get 2 games on Miramar to finish things off. And yesterday we had a good performance by 4 AM. They got 2 wins. They had a 17 kill win from LGE, very impressive. And overall, some pretty interesting games. On Miramar, we had an Oasis ending that was, I think, unexpected for most people, both probably players and also Twitch viewers as well. But overall, a really interesting day 1. So go watch it if you haven't already. And let's get into day number 2. Plane in the sky, pretty decent plane. Again, the planes have been pretty good. I mean, yesterday as well, on day 1, they were really decent planes for the most. But it was the circles that came after that were the tricky ones. And well, I mean, they continue to be edge circles, crazy hard shifts. I mean, that was pretty much the entirety of day 1, was just decent planes followed by absurd circles. So this one, not as absurd as what we've seen before, and but still, it's gonna be interesting to see. DAE, the team that sometimes goes military, didn't really get a military plane. Well, I guess they could have opted to go both ways, but knowing that they have teams looting down here, you don't really want to contest anything to then have to go military. Might as well just go up to Severny, knowing that it's open and available. So decent situation for them to find themselves in up there. But then, of course, the circle pops, and then it's not so decent anymore. I mean, they can still make the northern rotation in late, so should be all right nonetheless. IFTY gonna go down to their Ferry Pier split. OMG, they're rotating down south. I'm looking at RNG. Royal never give up. They get to loot Pachinki, but they keep, now this time around they keep everyone kind of inside Pachinki. I want to see how early they rotate, though. They have been really early on their rotations out from Pachinki and Shuai. I cannot say that. But leaves early, as expected. Goes up into the forest there to see if they can claim something. And also, if you're new to watching Chinese PUBG, keep a lookout for how wide they split. And when I say wide, I don't mean the color wide, but how wide, like how far apart, how much terrain they try and take control of in these first circles. It's insane. These Chinese teams, how much control they can sometimes get. Fight escalates early. OMG loses a player. OMG didn't have the best day on day 1 either, so it's a little tough start to the day for them. IFTY splitting the compounds. You got the FPX over on the side here. The fun Phoenix guys. I'm just sitting around looking for crazy splits, but we don't really see a lot of them right now. D7, they're rotating over the military side. I like that. It's a little creative. They looted up in Milta, saying, you know what? We might as well go this way, because we know that DAE went north. There's no team down here. That should be an easy rotation for us. Also, I mean, given the circles that we've seen before, there could be a strange situation where it goes down here, but I don't think that's gonna happen. L-Stars, they try to hold off VG. Seems like it's working out pretty well. Circle now centers up towards, well, I mean, the 4 shack field. Right, got four little shacks right there. Not an easy position to be in. LYG already now committing to a not a desperate split, but a situation where these 2 guys are stuck in a shack, and it's gonna be hard for them to leave if they're being contained in any way at all. So kind of a last resort move, but done in circle 2. That's not often that we see that. VG on the northern side, they're gonna keep rotating around, I would assume. Makes perfect sense. They just take control on the northern side and stay put, wait for the next circle to pop. Now let's see circle 3. How rude are you going to be to us? We have a huge field. Still room on the eastern side for teams to take control. We still got some water in south, and we haven't really got anyone hard committing on the southern side. Still little room in the forest. For the most part, it's all these open fields that you really don't want to be forced into. Okay, so we go back up north. Hard shift, not hard shift, but kind of, it is practically a hard shift. Back up north. Ark might want to get together. You can see Cobra and Bai already in their vehicles. They're gonna get on over quickly. QM and DAE, they're fighting in 4 a.m. Okay, this is not something you see too often, but actual third party coming in from 4 a.m. They want the center position. They know both teams have taken casualties. They crash the middle, and well, they strike immediately to try and see if they can get some kills off of it. RNG maintaining control of their forest side. Royal never give up. Smart rotations coming in early from them to take a lot of control in the center, but now this circle hard shifts back down south. Or southwest, I guess you would say. So north is going to be out 4 a.m. They're still in a fight. They probably thought they would have had it done with a while back, but they're still fighting. VG needs to keep on rotating around. D7G, they were the ones rotating. Keep in mind, they were the ones rotating over military. Look at this. They came in from military. They looted in Multa. They came in from military, rotate up to Glass House. Now they go all the way underneath. Try and get a spot in the backside of the circle with this shift, just to be forced back down south again. And where's your approach to this circle if you're D7G? Even if you're LGE, honestly. Oh, okay, they can probably play the backside of the hill. But if you're D7G in this circle, this is a big field. You can't really stop anyway. The compound is taken. It's pretty much, you pretty much have to come in from this side. But FPX, it's gonna matter a lot what FPX does in order for D7G to get anything. VG, smart, they're quick on their rotation, they get the spot. And that's just gonna make it even harder, to be honest, for D7G. Now they go down here, that's a little interesting. I thought they were gonna play the... Huh. When you have the forest, hilltop, why would you go into a compound that's on the edge of the circle? I hope it's just to get looted quickly and then go back, because staying here is very surprising to me. If another team goes up here and takes control, that alongside the guys in Quarry, that's going to be you never ever leaving that compound. So very interesting to me that they go down here, VG Gaming. Circle, okay, they obviously knew something we didn't. That's interesting. Circle hard shifts down in their direction. RNG forced to take the push in towards OMG. They've been under fire for a long time, and now they do lose their last player. Tianba has one player up, and he's gonna just prone in the middle. Full on liquid style, just go in the middle and hide it out. If we draw up a line here, we got 2 4-man teams and a 3-man, and then all the rest of the players are down south. All the rest of them are trying to maneuver their way in. I mean, there is forest area to play from, but it's like a Sanhok forest. Plenty of trees, plenty of rocks, a lot of dips and tricky areas to run around in. And I think VG is very blessed that no one is playing the west side and trying to contain, because this is going to be the time for them to go take center. Like, they need to go, and they need to go right now. And now they do actually cross over. That is very fortunate. That FPX, first of all, wrapped east into the third party rather than try and run west and contain. Because they would not have been able to rotate that easily. But now they caught them in a firefight here. They get the rotation in, perfect timing from VG. Really smart timing. Ark, still 4 guys alive. They haven't really fought too much from the compound, but now they can run up, knowing that most of what has been on the southern side has been cleared out. They can make a push on up from that side. Bai gets the vehicle up. Solo player gets found in the middle, and all of a sudden LG has all the room in the world with 3 teams clustered down on the southern side. And FPX, they're all kinds of trapped here. I mean, complete and utterly sandwiched. 2 knocks it. Okay, it's a triple. Mango, impressive. Cobra runs back down the hill. They have the vehicle there. They want to get some loot and want to get into better position. Final circles are popping. Let's see. Ooh, they get it over towards them. Now, if you want to push up this way, you're going to be exposed to Cobra. And if they go the other way, they're gonna run into VG. So I think by Cobra and Arc just staying where they are, they could potentially force a... Like, they could force these two teams to fight by making sure they can't wrap that way. VG might want to third party them. That could be the only off chance, but they would still not want to push out this way. So if they can force LGE to go this way around, then they might force them into a fight and get a chance to third party. That would probably be the play to make. Let's see. Of course, they're playing it slow, playing all the angles. They're now shooting. QF running into the middle. Circle, of course, gonna go dead center. And again, they have their whole ridge line to play on. They just need these two teams to start fighting, and that's exactly what happens. We just talked about it. If they can contain this entire ridge line, there's no way these two teams don't start fighting, and that's the perfect scenario for them. Arc can come up. They're both damaged. They can just come up and clean up practically. Boom, win the game. Very, very smart, very, very patient play by Arc in this situation. Everyone was playing it quiet, playing it safe. No one wanted to do anything, but Arc knew. I mean, guys, we don't need to aggress. There's no reason for us to do anything. We just hold, we just wait, we let them fight each other. It's gonna happen eventually. Yeah, exactly. I mean, once they have this ridge line guaranteed, there's no way these teams don't end up fighting. Really smart play by Arc too. I guess it's weird to say it's impressive. Like they were so good because they didn't do anything, but it was they're not doing anything that gave them the win. It was a decision to not do anything, because more teams would maybe have tried to split out and have one guy down here, and he could have gotten picked off by himself, or, ooh, let's wrap up here and get some info, and then they start fighting, and then LGE would have the third party opportunity. But they realized, if we just hold this ridge line, they're forced to fight. Third party, get the win. Good game for them. They end up getting themselves the win with, let's see, a 12-kill game to start the day. So 22 points as their first game of the day. That is a very, very, very good start today too for Arc. Now let's see. Game 2 of the day. Game number 8 overall. All right. Zoom, 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 zoom. We'll see here. Playing a southwestern one. Interesting. So yes, Naya. That's Arc, by the way. They're going to loot in Novor instead. DA is going to go down to Sosnovka rather than go up towards Severny. Any other changes that we should be aware of? Not really. No, not too much change. VG, they're splitting the west side. But other than that, there's not really not too much going on in this game that we haven't seen before. Arc obviously didn't with this plane path. I mean, it's going, what is it? East side military over Gatka. I mean, you're not going to get Yesnaya unless if you fight for vehicles in one of these 3 spots, and all those spots are contested with teams, so you don't really wish to do that. The circle pops somewhat center back to the western side. There we go. Obviously, no guarantee that it's going to go into the exact same spot, but you never know. Also, it's down here, not there. Let's slow it down a bit. Here it happens again. Look at this. So RNG, Royal Never Give Up, land as they do, and immediately Schwei takes the car, gets looted up, only gets the essentials, and immediately sends it down. We've seen Gemty do similar things in phase 2 from Liquid in the European scene, but now that 7 are playing in and around this area, they can't really do it to the same extent anymore, because they never know if there's a player there or not. So they don't loot down here, by the way. That's Navi. But they can't really do that the same way any longer that they used to do. But smart to get some control, center in the circle early on. Wise rotation and good timing on it as well. DAE, quick rotation out of melee. I still don't see them rotate yet. Timon is coming up now. Now they start driving. Is that quick? I think they might react to the fact that they see IFT players knocked. Oh, he flipped the bike. That's a yikes. Because by them seeing a knock, that's going to be people going for the rest. And that's going to be, you can see that's when they all commit to it, right? Like, that's when they all get in the cars and start going. If they have players knocked right now, or they are fighting for whatever reason, that's the team that loots here, right? That should mean that we have a clear passage over. Still stop the scout, goes over. Great play. Nice timing from from DA. Wait, how did they get knocked again? Oh, he's still knocked for that long? Okay. So he gets back up, gets safe, over on the other side. Could have been a vehicle that got popped by an opponent, we don't know. DA, they're across now though anyway. Do they know though? Do they know that ARC are coming as well? That's the question. Did they notice in the plane? Because when they see the plane early, they could just they could maybe have mixed this up with just being teams that go up here and not realize that there was yet another military team. So I'm interested in seeing how they like if they even care to react on a potential ARC rotation over the military side. D7G standard rotation over potato. Ooh, DY, here's the vehicles, small underneath. Shots fired and connected to. Wide rotation though from the DAE team. Let's look at splits right now. What do we have for splits? 1-1, 1-1 split from Royal. Okay. QM 1-1 splits as well. But I mean they can defend each other. This would arguably one split, so it's more like a 1-1-2 split for them. This is interesting. How they get this? Again, it's more on the edge, so it's not exactly dead center in the circle, but a wide rotation from Tianba. And what else do we have? Not a whole lot. OMG taking center compounds, but I think that's been seen before, and I don't think teams would crash in that aggressively early. I mean, we did see 4 AM and DAE fight for this in the previous game, but that was in Circle 3, I believe. So, new Circle pups. Let's see where we're headed. IFTY got 2 players in the forest. This is a somewhat scary split, I would say, because there's a big chance that teams come into this area, and Bolia and his teammate might not be able to actually assist with anything from here. You can see 7 full speed forward. They're going to be forced off to some extent, but maintaining this split with so many players in between you, that to me is dangerous. And we're talking very dangerous. I don't think that's what you want to do. DAE forced into a weird 2-way split with 2 guys in the shack. That's of course not what you want to have neither. Wu Feng solo, still splitting. OMG, still splitting. Tianba, they realize that they have a team in between them now. Look at this. So they're sitting in a 3-way split as well. Again, okay, so in general, Chinese and West Coast splits, or West, not Coast necessarily, but West side splits, that is scary. Look at this. Now Chan Chan gets pulled up on. Immediately Dong and Lorena comes in to help. But they're getting punished immediately. Or what? Maybe not. Maybe not. They get 2 knocks. All of a sudden it's a 4v2. Lin Shun can't do a whole lot to help, but they're doing a lot of damage. They do get killed though, so now Qian buys down to 1 player. Yeah, obviously they know that there's teams coming in, but still, it's a dangerous position to be in. OMG send their 2 players over. They know, having not heard any vehicles or anything, that they can take the center positions here. Decent rotations from them. 4 AM lose 1. They're forced to go back up north. FPX try to wrap around the west side. Not a whole lot for them to obtain there, to be honest. We do have yellows just inside, but it's going to be hard to rotate out from there now. What happened down south with IFTY? Did they manage to rotate over? So they go around the shack to then go up here and lose 1 player doing so. Okay. They rotate to yellows, new circle pups, center. Okay, so we're going into the forest area. And no one's really claimed this like the center, but then again there's not a whole lot to really claim, because once if you're dead center in the very middle, it's really not that good. Teams can be coming up from so many different sides, and you can't, as a 4-man team, contain everything. Especially not when you still have 57 players alive. So, so I like this. Get up, get in. D7G, I would assume they stay on the backside. They can't really cross from here up because L-Stars or Luminous Stars, I would assume, alongside IFTY, are containing the guys in the shack. FPX, they're trying to push in from the south. Play on foot. Do you want to crash the compound? Yes, they do. They go up and they go in. They might have secured themselves. Yep, they get themselves the right side man. Xiao Tu has to run on foot. That's, of course, not very optimal when you're in the middle of breaching a compound. RNG, in the meantime, they're playing one gutter. YTG playing the other. And the circle centers on 4 AM. Huh. Not too bad. But again, as we talked about just before, a situation where they can't really do a whole lot if two teams come in. Like, if one team comes from each side, all they can do is prone and hope that the opponents don't just run them over. I mean, in all respect, the 4AM guys are good, but it's not an optimal situation to be in at all. You can see as soon as they start shooting, other players are starting to come in. Now it's only a solo player, but still, well, okay, never mind. They do hold off. They do hold off a 4-man push from a 3. I guess Wu Feng gets taken down from the side. So they do hold off 3. Great play by them, and without getting punished too. That's the most important part. Without anyone punishing. One more team goes in. Oh my lord, they're just harvesting now. Farming kills as 2. Circle on them again. But this time around, I mean, there's going to be so many players wrapping around that way that I would not assume to see them stay put through all of this. I've been surprised before. You never know. But I'd be very surprised to see that happen. FPX trying to get over the top and third party down towards 7 or D7G. Seems like it's only going to be 9 that gets out alive. Arc under fire. These two players, they are somehow... Okay, now finally one player gets taken down. How many kills do they have at this point? Lu got 7 kills before he died. They have 10 kills at this point. I know. They do go down, but still, they get a 5th place and 10 kills. That's 13 points in a game where from very early on, when there were 50 people alive, they were 2 in the middle. And at this point, they had 1 kill. When you're crashing dead center with 2, with 50 alive, and you have 1 kill, you don't expect to get a 10 kill 5th place. That is very impressive play from Wellness and Lu. Very impressive. Arc push over to get down the last player. 9FF is chilling. Lin Shun is chilling. FPX once again finding themselves in the late game. Impressive feat from them. They're going to push over the top, try and see what they can get going off of that. Arc, late game position. They have quite a few kills too, I believe. Yep, that's 10 kills for them so far. Will they get more? Mango by himself. 1v3. Not going to be easy. He's going to back out. Die to blue. Okay, makes sense. So, decent game from them. And they should be well satisfied. But holy cow, I mean, the fact that 4AM gets 10 kills and... yeah, they get 5th place. 5th place and 10 kills. That's a 13-point game. When they had 1 point, essentially, when they were in the center of the circle. S2. That is not something you see too often. But good game nonetheless. Interesting ways that teams were playing those splits. Again, very long. But already on day 2. We're starting to see teams come in and punish. So that's good. Teams are learning and adapting very quickly. But they're still, I mean, I'm excited to see when we go over to Miramar to see if that's going to continue to be a thing or not. Now, game number 3. What do we get here? Final game of the day. These games were played today, by the way. So very fresh. The game really likes this area of the map. That's fair, I guess. But we are going straight back to where we were the past 2 games, essentially. A lot of games going down in that exact same direction. This time around, it's Rain who rotates out early. Also, look at the plane. Smart reaction. Where is Ifty? They're going north. RNG realizes this. They probably go parachuting in. They look down this direction and they go, well, there's no one here at all. No one's parachuting this way. No one jumped with us. When we had the plane over, no one jumped with us to go further. Or later to go down. If they went north alongside DAE, and that means that the entire south is open and available. And look at how fast they rotate down. Rain immediately, practically just lands, gets a car, and drives down to loot. That is not something I would expect to see from many people. And even in high-level PUBG, they wouldn't read that as quickly. Like, they wouldn't call that so fast. No one's down there. It's ours. Very few teams would make that call. But now they get a center position. Very smart reaction play by Royal Never Give Up. Very, very smart indeed. VG back out east. Black Ananas, they're out there. This person shelter split as well. And everybody's going to start wrapping in now. Again, same rotations as always. Pretty straightforward. I mean, there's plenty of rotation opportunities into this circle. It's what you do once you get here. That's the tricky part. YTG, they're going down to the dip in the forest. Do we see any crazy splits? Three-way split from OMG. I'm going to draw it on a different color. Three-way split by OMG. QM. I don't know why, but it's always Wu Feng. It's always Wu Feng who tends to be kind of isolated from his teammates. Now he does make his way down. Yes, he gets to the compound. Good. He's there. BA, they're just trying to hold the northern side and make sure they have that safe rotation on forward. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. It's something you see very often, and also it's very interesting rotation. Look at how they go. They rotate early, and they just send it straight through the middle. But again, they're in the same situation that, I mean, RNG just reads it faster, right? And that's what I said. I didn't expect anyone to be able to see those things so fast. They just go, guys, the circle went down to where we normally loot. We are not there, so why should anyone else be? That's a really smart play from Ifty. They don't expect anyone to be there because that's their loot spot normally, so why would anyone else have gone there? They probably didn't expect RNG to read that one as quickly as they did, but they see the shots fired from Forest down towards the compound. They take fire from OMG, and now they're forced to go back to the same split they normally do. They normally do have this compound, which of course grants you a little more cover, but they've split between these two before as well, so now it's just a little bit of a wider split that they have coming into it. FPX split 2-2, pretty straightforward. 4 AM, a scary two-way split on both sides, but then again you have the buffer in Forever and Lou up top that can wrap down on both sides. New circle pups, and we are going west. Okay, so western circle. We've been here before, and if you look at rotations in, if you're coming in from here, you can't really stop anywhere before you're up in the forest, which means you'll get shot at by all these different positions where there might be players shooting from. So I'm looking at LYG to see how they decide to rotate through. Just drive and drive and drive and crash into a compound. And also OMG keeping a three-way split at this point is very, very aggressive. But they're splitting so close to each other that, as you can see, they have a chance to push up and help pretty much immediately. Full control for Chiamba in Quarry. FPX maintain. I don't know why they would have Minxie over here still. I don't really see the priority in having a player sitting over there. YTG, they still have the hilltop circle. Send us up once more. This game really, really, really likes throwing people down in this area. VG, they're gonna crash down the compound. D7, that is our edge rotating team that at some point will just smash its center. Watch this. D7, they're sitting south of Quarry. They're realizing, good, there's people here. We've seen people in these two compounds. What do we do? If we want to get into this circle, if we wrap north around, what do we have? Good. We cannot go in straight, obviously. But let's draw it up for them. We got Quarry here. Can't go into that. We have a compound here, which we have no info on. Have to go around. The liquid of PCL. Nah, I don't know. And if we go further north, we got the little swamp area-ish thing here, which means you can't go here. There's a compound there. That's going to isolate us. Can't wrap around the compound because there's a swamp here. So that means that we can't go up anywhere here. And all of a sudden, you have a compound north. That's a no-no. So your only real play, if you want to wrap north around, is to go all the way here. And come in there. At least if you want to have a safe rotation, right? That's going to be your play. Whereas if you go east around, you cannot go in there. That's a no-go. Because there's people there. Cannot go there. That's a no-go. But all of a sudden, once you clear this compound, you have a huge open field and opportunities. So they just take their vehicles and go Pretty much alongside Ifty, they just send it full speed forward and they drive straight into QM. And they die. I mean, I like the idea, but expecting to be able to get it. I think they wanted to go to the forest initially. You can see the way they're driving. They're going straight forward. But then all of a sudden they realize, oh my god, there's a team rotating to our east. So like there's a team rotating on our side, which means we have to kind of bank it further west. So they want to go up this way, and then there's a team there, so they have to go further that way, and then you're just doomed. There's nothing they can do. So they rotate, they get completely and utterly torn apart, and within seconds, they are all eliminated. Now again, if we do a line in the circle, 1, 2, and 2 players here. A lot of the teams are playing the west simply because field. We can draw it up. I mean, let's draw up where people can actually be. I don't know why I didn't include that. This area down here that we've just drawn up. In this mass, we have, right now there's 43 alive. Minus 4, I guess we can say 3. Minus 3, that's 40. Minus 1, 39. Minus 2, 37. 37 of 43 players are in the center or in the southwest. Either they're somewhere in the middle or they're somewhere down here. We have 5 players. Make that 6. 6 players that are not within that area. So imagine if the next circle goes east, where the hell do you go? It's all these things that, I mean, yes, it's so much easier for us to keep track of when we can see everything. But even as a player, you have to keep thinking, oh, how was that plane path again? Okay, it was from there to there. These guys would have gone there. How did the circle go? Good, from there to there. There's so many things going on that you have to process when playing these games. And you can see L-Stars, for example, now. They're rotating straight into Death Trap. They're rotating into the only place, I mean, yes, they do get a spot in the circle, but had they just stayed and rotated east around, had they realized that there's so much room up here as opposed to here, they would have been much better off. Now, fortunately, because they get to keep their vehicles, they can rotate back again. But if they try to run up this way, that's practically suicide. Practically suicide at this point, because the circle just shifted exactly what we talked about. Had they wrapped around the east, they would have been so much better off than what they do now. 2 players get knocked, win immediately back where they came from. Perfect play. Had they been there earlier, it would have worked out even better. 7 taken down, and now they're all dead. Because teams got the jump on them. Had they stayed in an imaginary world, had they stayed here, FPX would never have been able to beat them to it. They would all, like, right now, they would have been here. They would have been exactly where FPX is. And FPX were the team to kill all of them. So really smart play from FPX, honestly, in making that rotation. Smart read for them to play the backside of the circle. But unfortunate for the guys below that it didn't work out for them. BA, they're going to be rotating around the northern side. They have to make that run in. 4 AM. Again, this was where they had that crazy 2-man performance from Wellness and Lou in the previous game. We'll see what they can rack up with 4 alive in this circle. QM, they're playing the center. Can't really do a whole lot from there other than, well, kind of just stay put and see how much comes their way. BA being contained by 1 player of 4M. Again, containment. You have to secure a spot in the circle so that your guys in the compound can push out. And that's exactly why we see them just constantly go back and forth between the two. Like, it's like D-Day, you know, when they came over with the boats. The reason they said get off the beach, obviously they were getting shot to pieces, but you need to make some sort of a landing zone, like some sort of a land area where we can say this, at least we don't have much, but at least this is a place we know we can go to that is ours, where you can stop and chill for a split second. And that's exactly what they make by constantly running back and forth on the sides to make sure that nobody's wrapping around to contain the compound. Because once the circle shifts, if there was a team here and a team here and they got pinned, they would be in all kinds of trouble. But because they split the way they do, and you can see immediately, vroom, Seago runs back to help his teammates back there. So very, very smart read by the 4M guys to make sure that all 4 players can cross over. OMG now has to leave the compound. They're running in towards 4 a.m. BA from the backside pushing over. Oh, this is a perfect third-party opportunity. Yep, I was just going to say they have to wrap on that, and they do. They don't lose a single player. Realize we put too much effort into it. Now we have to go back down the other way. Huh. So instead of continuing the wrap north around and taking the fight to BA, they actually decide to run back into the cluster that they left. That's surprising. I thought once they got the flushes there, they would have tried to continue pushing that way, but I guess BA was just holding too much. I mean, it is a difficult push down the hill because you're kind of open when you run that, like when you're running down the hill, you don't have too much cover. There's a couple of trees, but I think it's mainly just the ridge line that BA has. You can kind of see it here, that they can sit behind and shoot over the top. So they push the other way, saying that was too much of a threat, and obviously not really the outcome they would have wanted going down when they do. Ifty out on the east side, staying put. They're just chilling. How many kills do they have at this point? Not too many, I would think. Yeah, 4 kills for long, but that's about it. BA, again, team we can never count out. I've seen them do great things before. They've had, in my book, Black Analysts have had their majority of their success on Miramar, but clearly, I mean, reaching sub 3 here with 10 kills. Obviously, they know how to play this map as well. Ooh, they're losing players on solo basis with no retaliation. That's not good. Now it's a 1v2, and Ifty wins it. There were 4 alive, but Yeast managed to get a knock and a flush and a knock and a flush without being penalized before now. That is that's unfortunate. No punishing comes in. BA goes down. They do manage to get a lot of kills. 8 kills for Ifty as well. Good game for them, and that's gonna be it for Erangel on day 2. So we're gonna go over to yeah, it worked for them to come back that direction. Yeah, it sure did. I mean, it is their area that they land and loot, so obviously you'd expect them to know that terrain pretty well. And we say that, but in all fairness, I think most teams know most areas, especially on Erangel. So I think it's a poor excuse at this point to say, oh, but this is where they loot, so they should be expected to win there. Everybody that plays competitive PUBG and have played for a while knows practically everywhere. And if they don't, then they suck. Ifty is infantry gaming. That's right. I keep forgetting. I try to have my list of the teams over here while we do this, so I can make sure to to have the info available. But it's right. Infantry gaming. Sanhok, oh Sanhok, what do you got for us today? I wonder if the game will end anywhere here. Then they suck. Exactly, Vlad. You understand. Rotations over are going to be hell. I'm going to say that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places you can rotate over. Boats, I would assume a lot of people to use from the south. Probably not from the north, because these spots are going to be played. Like you can take that boat, but going further away, like further around, would probably be the oh, it's clan, it's not gaming. Yeah. Let's see now how they rotate. Arc, go over the small passage. D7G over immediately. Tianba is just going to play the hilltop. There's no reason not to. Especially not with this circle. Ifty, they're going to have to cross. Did they notice QM? I'm not sure if they did. I don't think they did. Now they finally get spotted while they're crossing. That's a good timing for Ifty. They were on the other side. Bolia managed to get the jet ski over. We still have FPX. They're just rotating miles out in the blue. We still have one. I mean, BA is like, no, we're not gonna go up there. This is horrible. It's only some mountains, Fluffy. It's only mountains that you cannot get to on Miramar. It doesn't work like that on Sanhok. Boats, late rotation. BA, super late. YTG, late to it as well. Now let's see, circle. Yep, it's gonna go right back here in just a moment. And everyone knows this, so Chiampa, they're just gonna... I like the split that they're doing. They just have, like, they have control of all the different, I guess you could say hilltop access points. So down here you can get up. Lynchun is holding that. Here, Dong is holding this. Holding... There's like one passage here. Passage. And they have a player dedicated to each one of them. So pretty smart split. Huh. Which? Which mountains? Can't leak? You can't come in and say that, Fluff, Tixu, and then not say anything. You can't come in and tell me that I'm wrong, but not tell me why I'm wrong. If you mean cave, and by cave because there's water in it, then that doesn't count, because that's not the same reason. Is it the one up here? But you can get up on top of that one. That's not it. I do not know which ones that would be then. Interesting nonetheless, if it's not over here. We'll see. We'll see. We'll go back to where we were before. So most teams have crossed on over. YTG still have to make their move across. DAE trying to make their run in as well, and now of course the circle, exactly as we expected, goes down to the hilltop. LG trying to contain the east side, managed to get down 2 of YTG. I mean, that's the issue, right? Because if this next circle goes south, LGE wants to make sure that they have no one north, because that gives them, first of all, another wrapping opportunity, and second of all, they can then run down, not having to constantly look behind them, because that's pretty much what everyone does in Sanhok all the time. L-Stars, they're gonna be pretty safe in their rotation. They keep Win over on the west side, try to contain QM, which obviously fails, because Carl and 17 is all that's left now. Circle goes center but north, and we've had these circles before. There's nothing up here. It's literally just, it's pretty much from here, honestly. One big downhill push to the compounds. All of this is suicide area. Big X on it. You can go in and play the little arch or the valley under the bridge type thing. And I would have assumed for Jianba to start maybe teaming up more, like start grouping up more, I guess that's the word I was looking for, rather than being as split as they are, because they are very, very isolated. And at some point, I mean, if we use old Warcraft 3 references, they're going to start leaking. They're going to start leaking at some point. They can't contain everything. At least I wouldn't assume so. I would be very surprised. See, there's one down, no punishment at all. And now all of a sudden, if they make their way up by infantry, they make their way up, that's one more down. And that's just Jianba not playing it correctly in my book. All of a sudden, they're down to one player. They could have been 4 alive, holding just one position. But they end up getting punished for the way that they play. Pig is literally just in the middle, being like, well, I'm just gonna chill over here and not do anything. Yeah, exactly. They allowed them to push over the top because they never grouped up early enough. So D7G, they're over here. LGE, 4 guys alive still. Again, they managed to contain their side of the circle and played it super well off that. Arc goes down, but with a lot of kills, I believe. Ifty gets it. Pig is by himself, and this is just a horrible ending. I mean, I think this is the final circle, right? Oh, there's one more. So it ends down, and all of Ifty have to get down somehow, which is impossible if you don't have a bike or something. Because if you jump off from here, then you die. If you fall down, you die. So they just have to stay below. Pig runs around the side to get one. He goes down as well. Now they have to jump. And okay, they do get down actually. I cannot tell you exactly what this terrain looks like, but clearly LG knew what it looked like, and they win the game because of it. With 11 kills. Pretty damn impressive. Tianba did get a lot of kills, but I think they could have had a much better game. Maybe they would have been a couple fewer kills coming into the last couple of circles, but they would have been an Ifty situation. And Ifty, they got what? They got 11... Yeah, 11 kills as well. I think they could have had a good position with a bit of placement as well in that game. Tianba than what they ended up doing. But that was Sanhok. Don't put too much thought into Sanhok. It's a beast, a monster that from an analytical perspective you try to avoid. Now let's see. Miramar, game number 5 of the day. One more game to go after this one. Tianba, they're out early. LGE, they're back down towards Val del Mar. OMG, Chuma. No big surprises there. First circle. We've seen these before. I don't know why, but there's a magnet up here dragging circles in that direction. But we've also had some interesting endings. We don't really get too many endings down in the area down here, but we have had some fun ones down around La Trilliera as well. So let's see. LGE splitting as they loot. Wide split considering the fact that there's a Montano Evo team. Let's see how other teams split in this situation. Let's just slow it down a little. El Sahar. Yeah. They were just around here. The planes, they have all the room in the world up here. They don't have anyone contesting them at all. So it's not really a like they can split the way that they want to. We haven't really seen those really northern planes yet. I mean, at least northeastern, because there was one that was north, but it kind of went down that direction. So the teams stayed up here. We haven't really seen anything up in this area yet. Now let's see. Elstars, they're maintaining their splits, scary splits, to be honest, in this position. Tianba, they're trying to get some info where they are. We just pause right here. 3-way split. 3-way split makes sense though. OMG 3-way splitting. DA and RNG forced to fight early. They're the two teams that leave Los Leones, I believe. Yes, they were both the Los Leones teams, and they start fighting over the north side of Chuma. What else do we have? This split is pretty interesting. You don't see that happen too often. This 4-way split is also rather interesting. I mean, how can you split like this and not get punished for it? I know it's circle 1, but still. The main issue to me with this is that there are so many players in between them. Look at these two splits. That is very surprising to me. We could draw up with one more. Very interesting splits from a lot of these teams. I would assume, I would strongly assume that 4AM goes up to take this position to scout forward. And you see Dong immediately disengages down to the compound. So teams just never really punish. Like they never I guess they're just too good at escaping. And it works out. I mean, obviously we rarely ever see, first of all, we rarely ever see anyone breach compounds early. Second of all, we rarely ever see anyone actually get punished. Like even if there is a breach, they tend to get away. So why wouldn't you risk it? As long as it works, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. YTG still split. Now they're going down to a 2-2, a little closer to each other. Makes more sense. VG still in their eastern 2-way split. If they're sitting on infantry, they're sitting in a 3-way split further down in the middle. That's a little aggressive, but at the same time, not really. We'll see the next circle pop. Are we going north? Are we going south? We are going north. Oh, Lord. This right here, we've drawn it a billion times before. This shift right here, that's gonna be tough, because there's gonna be, you can't really get up from here to here. And with the vehicles, it's even further over. Like you can vault your way up in certain areas, but with vehicles, it's even further over, more like this kind of. So if you want to bring your cars around, then that right here is blocked off, which means that teams, in order to rotate in, will either have to wrap all the way underneath, by which VG is sitting currently in a 2-way split, or you have to make your way up here. The thing is, one thing is rotating from A to B, but they're split very far. I mean, it's steep uphill, and yes, you do have the dirt road, but it's steep uphill, and once you get to like this point, everyone that is still down here will start shooting at you. And odds are either tires get popped or vehicle get damaged, you might get damaged. And then you run from that straight into teams that are already up here. So very, very, very dangerous situation for teams to rotate through. And I would assume a lot of teams trying to wrap this way around. Even though it's going to be a cluster and a complete chaos, I would assume to see a lot of teams. If we draw a line here, let's see. Let's draw a line here and see how many teams that are south actually decide to go this way. Let's draw the line and just try and fast forward real quick. Nobody. Interesting. RNG, Royal, they rotate right around. They go around their eastern side. OMG, from south, they try to wrap all the way underneath. They also want to go east. DAE, they see ARC push up, so they want to take their spot. And IFD, they stay in the compound south. Interesting. I stand corrected. I don't know if I stand corrected, but I would have assumed more teams to rotate west around than what they did. Now the circle is gonna go north, goes away from all these interesting areas, so it's gonna go north up towards power grid. And now let's see how this all unfolds. We know power grid, horrible area to fight in. You're pretty much downhill from the grid itself. Then you have like a buffer of a type of, what do you call it, ridge line around the grid itself. So you can't really, I mean, if you're down here, you can't really see in. You can kind of see from some spots over here, but other than that, not really. D7 splitting in circle 5, 6, no, 4, I guess. Two-way split in circle 4. That is something that should be punished, but it's not. Everyone else kind of forced to stay side by side. FPX there, I like this. I like the split by FPX, just having control of the eastern side. And I mean, if they have the road under control, they can use that to wrap around as well. Because they would, like, once they start pushing up, they need to just go full vertical. They can't start running horizontally on the mountainside, because they're going to be visible to so many teams. They try to wrap around and figure out where do we go up. Now they do go up this way, down to 4 AM they go. Find themselves some kills on that. VG splitting, Milo trying to hold off the south side, while the rest of them are trying to contain what's on the east. Circle goes south. Okay, that's interesting. So QM Gaming, see them down here. Their role has been, okay, let's not do anything to interfere with power grid itself. Let's instead just make sure that this entire thing is clear. If we can say that this is completely clear, then we can put all our attention to this, because this essentially is an open field that you don't want to have to cross through, and Milo is sitting and watching over it. So they want to be sure that this is clear, so that if it does go over here, they can do some sort of wrap rather than have to run their way in like that. So they go down again, and now they can start pushing forward, knowing that there's no one behind them. Really smart plays. Really, really smart play by QM. VG, push out to get some info. LYG's carrot is still up there and alive. And realistically, guys, in this circle, how many teams would you have thought that there would be in power grid, in EU or NA? If you don't don't look at any of the teams. Don't look at teams at all. Just see 23 players alive. How many teams would you have thought that there would be inside of power grid? I would say 3 or 4. One team would have been up here. One team would have been down here. And maybe one team would have been kind of isolated over on the east side. There's no way in hell that in this circle the entirety of power grid was split, looted, and still 2-2 split by one team. No way in hell that would ever happen. That is very, very, very surprising to me. But again, Chinese PUBG. If you don't know it, then, well, we're all here to learn. QM, they just got the circle thrown on their face, which means they need to kind of decide on one side of the circle to hold, but at the same time also try and be as versatile and dynamic as they can, because they know that opponents are going to be coming in from multiple angles. Wu Fang goes up, goes down, pushes up, but gets knocked. And all of a sudden, D7G, the one team that had the entirety of Power Grid for 10,000 years, wins the game with 11 kills. I am baffled by how a team in this circle can sit on the entirety of Power Grid. That is very confusing to me. But nonetheless, that was the case, and honestly, I think had we had more teams when we talked about it earlier in this circle, had more teams decided to wrap around this way than trying to go around this way, then they would have been forced into Power Grid at some point too. Maybe that would have been the case. But nonetheless, that was the first Miramar game of the day. Last game of the day coming your way now as we speak. And thank you so much, TDS, for the subscription. I have all my notification alert sounds, or whatever you call them, off when we do these videos. So just so you didn't get disappointed. But last game of the day coming your way, game number 6. Let's see just exactly how that one unfolded. Now we might get to see some more teams going north. Let's see. Yep, LG, they will take Cruz. LYG will go up towards LSH, and now we get FPX up towards Terra Bronca instead. Nobody Monte, nobody El Pozo. L-Star still goes south instead. Chiamba, they'll be split looting. Okay, this is actually kind of funny. So Chiamba normally goes up around El Pozo. They'll be 3-way, splitting that, or 4-way, I guess you can say. L-Stars, they're playing the southern side. You have BA in Puerto Paraíso, but also the other side. There's a lot of teams down here already. Like, a lot of teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in or around, like, Montenegro or Las Leones type area. Thank you, man. Thank you. That is very, very interesting, which means that for the teams that normally tend to wrap down quickly, they might not want to, because there's already a billion teams down here. Now, fortunately, the teams that are north will have seen that, oh my lord, we just lost half the plane. Like, half the plane jumped out pretty much before we got here. So they will know for a fact that there's got to be a lot of people south, especially with this circle. But how they're going to play it, that's going to be interesting. And also, will anyone stick inside Las Leones? Let's fast forward it a little bit and see. Teams are going for the high ground edges of the city. Makes sense. Try and get some info. We've got teams sitting on the southern side as well, trying to get into a more info, I guess, position. I'm looking for crazy splits, and fortunately now I'm not seeing too many of them. We do have this one from BA. You can do that in phase 1, I think. That's decent enough. And then Chiamba and Luminous Stars, they've been split for for quite a while. I mean, they're kind of on top of each other for a while now. Finally, Winters managed to get down one, but oh lord. Look at this shift. We have 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a 8. Is that one more of YTG's players? Yes. 9 and a 10. 10 out of 16 teams are not inside the circle yet. And if we draw up the rotation opportunities, unless I would, maybe 1 or 2 teams will take the run through Las Leones, but I would assume not. You have to wrap around this. Like, you will need to wrap around the city somehow. And where do you go? There's so many compounds down here, but as we said before, so many teams landed here. So the majority of those compounds will be taken by the time they get there. And you can see how they're around. Everybody goes around the city. Only 4 a.m. actually decides to drive through. D7G coming off of a win, trying to scout their way further forward. One hilltop to another. They spot 4 a.m. now, so they know there's a team in the city. That's interesting. Next circle, where are we forced to go? South. I'm sorry if you can hear someone drilling. That's one of the next door neighbors. FPX, well, they're probably going to stick around for a little while longer, maybe push over one building, but they want to make sure that nobody's wrapping in from behind them. Same thing, honestly, from LYG. We haven't really seen a whole lot from NYG. They got a second place. Maps got a second place at one point. But that was mainly just based off of the positioning that they had. In that game, it wasn't really them going out and being aggressive. Okay, guys. When you're in this circle and you're having a 3-1-1 split, you're just asking to get killed. This is what I was talking about in the beginning of both today's games and yesterday's games. BA is a team to me that can do some amazing things. But this, I think, is very scary. And yes, I know that Pig and his teammate are making their way down. But that's way too late. Joe already knocked. There's no way in hell they're getting him up. They just lost a player for no reason. Now they're committing to cross even. And they just lost 2 players because they were keeping that split for way too long. Like, way too long. That is to me too greedy to have such a wide split, especially in this area of the map, and with so many players alive still as well. FPX setting up a roadblock, gets himself the first, gets himself the second, get the third, and now Yum or Zm is all that's left alive. Royal and 4 AM, they go side by side, but seems like neither of them want to take the engagement. They all start driving further forward into this area, which is rather open and not that easy to play around. We're in the area now with one. I wouldn't even call this a compound, but let's do it anyway. We got 4 compounds and a warehouse and some silos. We'll call this a compound 2 game. 5 compounds for 15 teams. And then a center point that is extremely open and practically impossible to play with so many teams alive. This is a very, very difficult circle to play if you're not being gifted. Like, if you're in the compound, obviously, it's pretty easy to just stay. But if you're OMG, if you're ARC, if you're FPX in this situation, it's difficult. You have to cross the road. It's pretty much cutting you off on the southern side of the circle and push uphill into death, most likely. Very, very, very difficult situation to be forced into. ARC, they take the gas station. OMG wrap around the other way. OMG we haven't really seen a whole lot from, and now they potentially have to run into 4 AM depending on where this next circle goes. We'll see ARC just slowly and steadily crossing over. Again, cross the road in the least busy place. That's a smarter thing to do. OMG, they're about to cross it straight into 2 teams, potentially even 3 and 4, trying to contain them on that cross. So ARC obviously found the better side of the road to get over on the other side. Everyone's making their way, and look at this. Look at this. We got 1 team. If we exclude forever by doing this, right? We have 1 team in half the circle. We got 33 out of 37 players on 1/2 of the circle. And they're pushing into nothing. That's the issue. They need to fight down here because they can't run up here. If you go up here, you're going to get shot at from the compound and by the other guys that are behind you. You have to take these fights down here. Very tricky situation to be in. And honestly, for infantry, they're sitting so well in it. 3-way split. Jiao can get info down. Long can try and scout forward or like see what's going on. And Bolia and Lin can try and help contain anyone trying to cross through Deadman's field here. Or Deadman's land, whatever you're going to call it. But everyone's forced to take fights. And all infantry really has to do is make sure no one gets up here. And make sure that no one gets down there. That is a absurdly tough shift for a lot of them. But now you can see, for example, now QM, they got in between them. And that's where Jiao, either you need to shoot or you need to get the hell back towards your teammates. Like, immediately get up here. Because if you want to play it from this side of the circle, that's fine. But you got to be there and ready to play. Right now, they're split apart. If 4AM decides to push up on Jiao, he's going to be pretty screwed because Long might not be able to assist him that much. So infantry needs to play really, really smart now. Immediately runs down, loses 2 players. That's not playing it smart. They should have made those plays. They had vehicles in that compound too. They could have wrapped around the back. They could have done a lot of different things. Try and get safe once they saw the vehicles come up. Like, once Xiao calls that the vehicles are pushing up from QM, they need to dip and get into a better position. Because they could have played 3 guys trying to get down this hill rather than getting stuck up on the on the compound. Mango, still alive. He's been one of those solo players late for Ark a couple of times now. Trying to sneaky peekingly make his way further forward. Second to last circle crosses in, but it's going to be the last one in the game. QM 3v2, make that a 2v2. Wu Feng and QM already has a win on the day. Infantry does as well. Well, let's see who wins it. Ooh, 2v1 now. And they win it without losing a single player. That's impressive. So Infantry, despite losing 2 players to QM earlier, actually managed to pull off a second win on the day. That is not too bad. They didn't have the strongest day one, but they do manage to get themselves yet another win. Let's see, what do they end with? Only 6 kills. Only, still decent. I mean, they were on the, if you can call something a quiet side of the circle, look at this shift. I mean, as I said before, there's no one. Everyone is fighting and they don't get any part of the action at all. So impressive, this considering the fact that they lose 2 players up here. I actually thought it was going to be a QM win, but Infantry wins it. Good job by them. QM, of course, quite a few more kills than what they had, but nonetheless, really good performance. And that, my friends, was the last game of day 2. I hope you've been enjoying watching it. I hope that you will give any feedback that you might have. That could be interesting. And yes, Infantry, good games on the day. Really good day for them overall. And I think they might top out the day in overall points, or maybe be second place or third. I'm not sure exactly, but they were up there. They were up there. Really good day for them. So thank you so much for watching on YouTube, and see you all next time.